Where are we?
Hi, everybody. It's Tuesday night roundtable, and we are live. Want to say thank you if you're tuned in to us right now. And if you are not live with us right now, of course, this will be archived as usual in all the wonderful places, and you'll get to watch it later. So we missed last week, but the RNC was busy, and I wanted everybody to get a chance to watch that. So we're back to business this week, and just a few reminders as we get started tonight. Please don't forget, share this video and check it out. Please share it everywhere that you can. Also, jump over to justify.org. It's JUSTDEFY.org. Website, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you can find that. We are looking for folks who are ready to get involved in some activism and help us move in the right direction away from the socialism and all this craziness that's going on. So without further ado, tonight we are with Tony Caputo, who is the state representative candidate for House District 32. And we're going to be talking tonight about faith, the calling to run for office, service and ministry, and what that's about for Tony. And just what that's about in general for a lot of people who are running for office, Republican Party and that type of thing. But we want to hear from Tony because he is so involved in his ministry that I feel like this is just a great opportunity for him to speak to those who may find some calling themselves. So, hi, Tony.
Hi, Cynthia. How you doing?
Good, good. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to just jump right in, okay?
Fine with me.
Okay. So again, Tony's running in House District 32, so make sure you get out there and support him and share this video. And at the end, we'll just remind you, but predominantly that's Commerce City, and he's been super active. So if you haven't seen him out there yet, trust me, you will. And let's help him get out there and spread the word. So first thing I wanted to ask you about, Tony, is, I'd like you to tell us a little bit about your faith, your involvement in church, ministry in your community, and why that's so important to you.
Well, I was saved back in about 1980, and I got saved by listening to a tape on prophecy, and then started listening to that station, and that's when I learned what it truly meant to believe and trust only in the Lord Jesus Christ and what he did for us upon the cross. Now, the person I was working with, his brother was a pastor. So I got to be able to get involved right away in a church. And I loved it. I ended up teaching within a few months because I have a teacher's heart. I love to teach. And it's really heartening when you have somebody that wants to learn. And they really did at the first church that I was at for 9 years. And then eventually I was led of the Lord to go to a different church, ended up becoming the pastor, the fill-in pastor, because the other pastor had passed away. And when that was done, there was another little church that asked me to be their pastor, which I was for 10 years. My mom was dying, so I stepped back away from that for a few months and let somebody else set up and be pastor. Since then, I've been back. I did for a while. I helped out in about 4 different churches, and but then now I'm pretty much back full time doing different things within our own little church. I teach the youth from about 14 or so up to about 22. I also do fill in for Sunday school adults when needed. And like the next 2 weeks, I'll be doing sermons in the regular church service as well. I also do go down once in a while. I usually try to do it twice a month, 2 days each time when I go down Friday, Saturday, and then Saturday, Sunday to Avondale. There's a little church there. A lot of them came from us, and they don't have a pastor, and I just love them to death. So I go down there and spend anywhere from 2 to 3 or 4 hours with them each time.
I
Also,
mean, I don't mean to interrupt you, but this is all right in your, right in your House district, right? This is the community that you're running for office in, that you're doing this, correct?
you're right, but the little church that I go to is down in Avondale.
Right,
And
but
Avondale is
the other church that you're associated with is in Commerce City, correct?
absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And anyway, nowadays I'm busy doing that. Also, I'm doing some mentoring with the Denver Rescue Mission. Okay, that's been pretty much my involvement.
And the folks at the rescue mission, what are you finding their responses to the ministry there?
You mean to mine or to the ministry at the Denver Rescue?
Just in general, whether it's to you or to the ministry, your observations there.
Well, they're tremendous. They are really, really tremendous. Most of the people that are there and the ones I've become in contact with are very, very appreciative of what's going on there for them, and that they have a place to stay, a place to work, a place to eat. So
Right.
overall, I've mentored now 3 different people, and all 3 of them have really wanted spiritual mentoring more than anything. So the last one just got a job and he's moved out now. We were spending 3 hours once a week just doing a Bible study.
Wow, that's awesome.
Oh, it was fun. I love doing
That's
that.
awesome. And look at that smile on your face. That's proof that that's really something that makes you feel good. So
Amen.
that's great. So, it just seems natural to me. So how did your faith call you to run for office? Like for you, what is the connection between that and that calling and then running for office, right? Because some people are like, well, religion and politics aren't the same thing, or they shouldn't be related, or they're not, or whatever. But I think, I would say that they are definitely related. So what's that connection for you?
Well, I agree with you 100% there. They are related. And I really feel badly for a lot of Christians who think they shouldn't be involved in politics. Because if a good man does nothing, what happens? Okay. We're supposed to be the salt of the earth, not only spiritually, but in our lives, in leading, in showing how to do things in our families, how to do things on a political level, all of that. And I started way back in the probably 80s in Jefferson County, helping. I was a PCP and involved in a couple other things there. Then once I moved over to Adams County, that's when I really became very, very active. I was always in the background. I never thought that I would be running for office. I'll be honest with you. And I was PCP for years, also district captain, and even for a while, House District Chairman, where we helped find people to run for office. Now, this time I was helping Carl and Austin. We were trying to find a good candidate because this is an area that has not been represented well as far as family type values and stuff. And I started praying about 3 months before. And I kept praying every day, Lord, what do you want me to do? Lord, what do you want me to do? And I feel that I finally got a confirmation that, I finally found confirmation from the Lord and also through Kavika, something he said, which just really, really, confirmed it for me. Okay.
Can you share that, or is that private?
Well, no, it's not private. It's I was coming up to his house one time, just before we really got connected, and I saw him walking. I picked him up, and he had been praying while he was walking, and he said God kind of confirmed to him to do this, and that says that's my final confirmation that I needed.
Yeah. Awesome. Wonderful. Well, Tim McCormick's jumped on and said, hi, Tony. Thank you for all you do. Your hard work campaigning is an inspiration. And I think that's definitely a tribute to everything that you've been doing. Hi, Tim. And thank you, too, for your service and for putting yourself out there and running as well.
Yeah, we got to get that guy elected.
Yes, we sure
Senator
do. We
Tony.
sure do. And he was on here with me too a couple weeks
Right.
back, but
I saw
we
it.
definitely need to do that. Mitchell also said, "Go Tony." So he's out there watching as well. So thank you guys for tuning in. I always like to just, if I get some comments or have something, say hello to everybody. So you know, and I do think that, you know, praying and saying, is this where I belong and what I do? You know, I had that similar experience of that I had wanted to do something like this, but I just never felt like I could make things come together. And then just all of a sudden it was like, I was like, oh, I have to do this. You know, I have to do this. And you know,
Yeah.
if you really ascribe to the fact, to the notion, I guess, that being a representative, a House representative, a senator, a council person, a commissioner, whatever it is, right? We are supposed to be there to serve people if in those roles, right? So
Right.
when you're elected, it's your role to serve the people in your district. And so if you truly are running for office and doing it the way that it is supposed to be done, through service, then it
Amen.
definitely coincides with the whole notion of ministering, serving your community, and that whole thing. So,
Amen. And promoting things like family values and individual freedom.
yeah, absolutely. And life, protecting life,
Amen.
you know, all of those things. Those are some things that we definitely need right now. In fact, you know, that kind of leads me into the next question I was going to ask you. You know, there's a lot of chatter out there right now. All you have to do is watch the news, look at Facebook, look at the things that are out there, and it's just, you know, I commented yesterday that I'm so saddened and sickened by a lot of the things that we see, and a lot of people are saying things, you know, that our country has been lost to, for lack of better words, to evilness in a lot of ways, but definitely to hedonism and a lot of other problems. And that we need God. We need to find faith. And I, every single day when I look at any kind of media and news and stuff, I continually see people commenting, you know, God, we need you. Please find your faith, that type of thing. What do you think about that? And how do you plan, you know, kind of what's your plan around that when elected?
Okay. If you look at history, throughout history, especially Britain, over the centuries, Britain has had highs and lows, and those highs were always after a revival, and their lows were, after the revival was done years later, and their whole history is kind of a bunch of ups and downs. Well, I think America has been very similar. It's had several different uh, revivals over the years. In fact, I found out that President Trump has a Bible that was given to him that actually was from somebody who did a revival back in, I think, in Welsh or somewhere in Britain in that area. Yeah, we have to understand our founders gave us a constitution that can only work under a moral people. When they were asked about what they had given the people like Franklin and others says a republic if you can keep it. But they also stressed the fact that it had to be over a moral people. If people under a republic or democracy learn that they can write themselves checks and things like that, guess what? Bye bye morality, and the country starts going downhill. And that's what's been going on, especially since Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Okay, his whole efforts, although well-meaning, a lot of them ended up being more oppressive to the people because it allowed the whole time to go, more than 10 years where they probably could have fixed it in a couple. It's kind of like with Barack Obama. He went through one of the weakest recoveries in American history. Okay, so if we understand that only a moral people can survive in a republic, we need to shout that out to the people. I intend to have little like what you're doing here. I intend to have something like that later, telling the people what's going on. and then encouraging people to pray, etc.
And for you to hear them too, and to talk and be able
Yes,
to hear what people in the community are desiring and wanting. I think that's one of the things that has driven me to continue to do these roundtables, is that I just feel like we need to continue to be available as servants to the public for people to come. Right now we are live. Anybody can ask a question of any kind that they want. And I just want to continue to encourage people to do that. And I think
yeah,
that, and I'm glad, I know you're open to that. And I'm glad,
I am.
you know,
Can I tell you a fun little story about that?
yeah,
When we were out, Kavika was actually talking to this gentleman and his family, and they were complaining about some things happening in that area. It was kind of a rundown area, and so Kavika gave me the message and his email and stuff like that. So that night, I shot him an email. Now, a lot of the things he was talking about are not under the purveyance of me as representative, but I said, look, what we can do is sit down together first, get a group of your fellow citizens there and sit down, talk about what the problems are, possible solutions. Then I'll go ahead
right,
and approach either the mayor and the vice mayor and see if we can have a combined meeting to try to work something out.
right.
Next day, I got an email. That was just a test. You passed. You got 2 votes. They wanted to
Well,
be heard.
that's right. People want to be heard so much. And, I just want to, I was so happy when you said we have a constitution. It's amazing how many people seem to have forgotten that lately. And I do agree that, the notion was that that constitution, as a representative republic, a constitutional republic, that we could prevail with and under a moral people. But the founding fathers also recognized that there were flaws, and they, built things into the Constitution to protect the people of this country from those who get into power, who abuse that power. And, it is so important talking about religion, and we talk about religious freedom and those types of things, that it's so important to recognize that every time we tear apart a piece of that Constitution, we are creating a slippery slope into a situation where we are no longer protected from oppression. And that is exactly what this country was, why we started this, is to have that freedom. So I'm just so glad to hear that. And I think it's definitely, it's tied to that notion of religious freedom and being able to show that as well.
Well, our founding fathers recognized that our freedom and rights came from God. Okay. And we've got to recognize that, and we got to let people know that. Because if it's given by government, what happens? They can take it away. And believe me, are they trying like crazy?
Yes.
The church actually has been persecuted these days in America far more than any other time in history. It's going to get as bad as Canada, because down in Austin, Texas, there was a woman mayor there that thought that she had the right to require every single pastor to send in their sermon ahead of time to be approved before they could give it. Now, show me that in the Constitution, right?
That just makes your blood want to boil. You mentioned Canada anecdotally. I was talking to a customer on the phone today who moved to Canada, but he's still conducting business with our bank here, and he was complaining about something that happened up there at a bank. And he said to me, just out of the blue, I mean, he doesn't know me from Adam, right? He said, I was born and raised in the US, but I had to move here for work or whatever it was that took him to Canada. And he said, just remember something: socialism sucks. And he said, so whatever you have to do, don't allow that to happen in the US. He said, the US is still the greatest country in the world. And all the countries that try in any way to mimic the US have failed. And, just to hear that, I mean, he doesn't know anything about my political view or anything, but he feels so strongly about it, having experienced life in another country where there is, it's so much more heavily socialistic. And, it's amazing how in tune many people are into where we are headed. Of course, it is also discouraging that there are a lot of people that are just seem oblivious to it. So you definitely have your hands full, Tony.
I know. One of the mistakes that our national government has made in trying to be nation builders, they try to place upon the people there our type of constitution, which is based upon the Judeo-Christian ethic and beliefs. Okay, and our own Father says, "Without a moral people, it cannot stand." So we're trying to force, in a sense, to share our beloved values that are good, because we still have enough moral people that are understand the importance of morality and family unity. Uh, I just am so saddened that, for example, the Black community used to at one time have more family unity, the husband, the wife, and the kids, than any white. Okay, that stopped when? In
Yeah.
1964
Yeah.
under Johnson. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just listening and agreeing with you that, yeah, I mean, we have had so much suffering and the tear down of the morality of the family, and we see it, across the country, but certainly we have groups of people who have suffered, I think, more than others in particular with regard to that. And I just hope that we can find a place. I think with people like yourselves in office, we can find a place in Colorado and a way in Colorado to bring that back and have it be something that is shared by everyone, in the state.
Yeah, we've got to be willing to speak out. So many Christians nowadays, they feel afraid. The Democrats like to use that phrase, "Well, we are scientific." No, they're not. The things that they believe in, I could shoot them down easily, and I don't have a PhD. But
well, you don't have to have a PhD to have common sense sometimes, or morality, for sure.
Amen.
So let me ask you this last question then. So to those people, and just speaking of the Democrats always talking about, we believe in science, etc., right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't even want to go there because that kind of stuff just infuriates me at times.
Yeah.
So there would be people that would say, there shouldn't be a connection between politics and religion, or when you get that far left liberal who is talking about, separating those two things, or whatever it might be, or you see the hypocrisy of it, right? Or you see Democrats who are saying, like Queen Pelosi has said, I'm a Catholic and I pray all the time, yet she is supporting things like,
Abortion.
like abortion of children all the way up to a full term, right? So you see that hypocrisy. So to those people who have those family values, maybe those Christians that are out there who have, for whatever reason, believed that the Democratic Party or liberalized ideas are things that they should be believing in, and maybe now they're even questioning that, or people who are on the fence, what would you say to them with regard to that?
One of the things that I think Republicans have made a big mistake on is that their unwillingness to go to the minority communities, because they think, oh, well, the Democrats have them in the bag. Well, that's not true. In our campaign, I am trying to reach every single household. I don't care if they're Republican, Democrat, or independent. We're connecting with them. And we're
Yeah.
finding out more and more that they are very, very open to the message, especially what I'm pushing, which is individual rights and family rights and freedom of religion. They have moral values far in excess of what a lot of the liberal establishment does. Same way within the Black community. They have far more social uh, values than many others. Uh, it's just that they've never really been told. It's
Well,
all
there's
been hidden.
yeah, I mean, we need well, yeah, we need truth. That would be nice.
Amen.
Truth in the media and things like that, of course. We have been continually, and like you said, the whole notion that people of certain groups, racial groups and stuff, are naturally going to vote for Democrats. But the thing of it is I have, a lot of conversations with people. My husband is first generation Mexican. And, we've had conversations about this, and I've had conversations with friends of mine too. And, it's been, there's been a mantra, right, that is just crushed onto people over and over and over for decades now, that Republicans are racist and they hate minorities and they want to take away everybody's benefits and they want to hurt people. And I mean, people have just been fed this information for so long from sources that are supposed to be legitimate, right? Like news and things like that, that there are a lot of people that when I have conversations with people and I say, well, did you know that the Democratic Party supports this? Or did you know the Democratic Party supports this? They're like, what? I don't believe that way. I don't like that. I would never do that,
That's
And
why.
it's just as simple as just sharing things with people.
That's why one of the first things that I did on the door hangers that we have, one side is English, the other side is in Espanol. I'm able to speak enough Espanol to get by, and Kavika can speak it a whole lot better. So we talk to these people whether in English or in Spanish, and they are just responding in amazing ways. I've had so few negative responses. It is amazing.
It's amazing how welcoming people will be to you when they feel the effort that you're putting into relating to them, hearing them, and including them.
Amen.
And you have done a tremendous job of doing that in your district during your campaign, and I commend you for that.
Thank you.
So we are about ready to wrap up. I don't see any other comments, but if you have any last ones, please don't hesitate to post them. But I just want to thank you. Pardon?
I will answer.
Absolutely. Yes. And if something comes into me, I will pass it on to you to make sure that people get connected with you as well. So I just want to encourage everybody. I'm going to remind you again, right? Please share this video. It's very important. Support Tony in his campaign. Like I always say, the cup of coffee with Fufu coffee, or that one cocktail you might have this week, or that one little extra Netflix movie you purchase, forego it for 1 week and instead put that money in a check and send it to Tony. Okay? Because if 200 people do that, then he has a nice little something coming in. It doesn't have to be a lot. Don't feel like if you're going to send something, it has to be a ton of money. And also, Tony needs help walking in his district. So if you are so inclined, the weather is starting to cool down. It was a little warm today, but it is starting to cool down. And so it'll be a little bit nice to walk this month. But we really need to hit things hard in September for Tony and for all of our other candidates who are out there that are supporting our liberties and who are ready to fight. So if you can spend a little time out in the community with Tony, please let him know that as well. Tony, what's your website address so people can find you?
My website is www.tony, Tonyc, my first to the last name, for HD32.
Wonderful. Okay, so that's Tony C4HD32.com. Okay. Also, if you're watching this on my page and you can't find Tony, you need to get a hold of him. Of course, you can post to me. I will ensure that you get connected with him as well. Okay.
Thank
So,
you.
as Tony would say himself, the lifeblood of every campaign is money. So, send those donations, no matter how small or trivial you might think they are. They will help him in his fight to bring liberty and justice back to us here in Colorado once he's in the House. Also, please don't forget to visit justify, JUSTDEFY.org on the website, Facebook, LinkedIn. And of course, you can grab any of the videos that we place up. We're blogging now as well. And one of our missions is to support candidates that are moving us in the right direction. So that's why I'm going to continue to talk to candidates throughout this election season. So please share. Any last words, Tony?
Just pray for this country, pray for our president, and pray for those candidates that are trying to make a difference. We could really appreciate that too.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. All right, everybody. Well, I want to thank you if you tuned in, and if you happen to watch this later, which I know a lot of you do, again, remind you, share and reach out to those candidates, whether it's Tony or anybody else in your area, and help them get in there so that we can turn things around. I think enough of us have seen all the garbage that's going on to know now is the time to act.
Amen.
All right. Thanks, Tony. We're going to end it. Good night, everybody.
Good night. God bless.